The Rams are in a weird spot, Joe. They can't win their division, right? Like, unless something catastrophic were to happen to the Niners. I don't think they can win their division, but they are one of those teams in the NFC West that is right there in the conversation because of the complexion of the NFC in this division specifically as a possible wild card. Even money to make the playoffs, win total at 8.5. We'll get to those sort of larger picture numbers in just a little bit. Let's kind of work backwards towards them in looking at some of the individual player props for the season. Matt Stafford, 3,840 yards, 22.5 touchdowns. But you've got Nacua and Kupp to throw to, both at 6.5 touchdowns for their props at BetMGM, and both right around that 1,000 to 1,100 yard mark. Kupp 975, Nacua 1,150.
Yeah. Puka. You can't say enough about what he did last season. Literally, we say this a lot. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw that coming. And you could say that about the entire Rams season. They destroyed the win total. It was 6.5. And I remember this time last summer, people were having real conversations about whether or not the Rams would have the worst record in the NFL. Like, okay, and maybe they tank, maybe they go for the quarterback. McVay sets them up for the future, all that. And then they end up going to the playoffs. They go 5-1 in their division. It was amazing. Amazing what they accomplished last year, and nobody saw it coming. And they found their latest running back in Kyron Williams. Had a terrific year. There's Puka. You didn't know what was going to happen with Kupp. I always found it interesting from a betting perspective. If one of those guys was out, whether Puka or Kupp, you just take the prop on the other. And the targets would be like 15 plus every single time. They would destroy the numbers. So as far as season total props, you mentioned season-long props. You mentioned Matthew Stafford's numbers. I would never take over. Never. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to hit. It's just at this stage in his career, you need him to be healthy for nearly the entire season. And that's what the bet is. I don't want to make that bet. Nothing against Matthew Stafford. He's awesome. Once he got that Super Bowl, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, right?
Oh boy.
It's longevity.
Borderline. Longevity is important. The numbers he's put up. And yeah, the ring for a lot of people would sort of cement it. I think he'll get in, to answer your question. For me, it would be borderline, but I think he'll get in.
Number 1 overall pick, and just the numbers that he's put up. And as long as he keeps playing the numbers, he's going to continue to put up. 24 touchdowns last year. Am I betting over 24.5 touchdowns? No, I would only bet under, and you're just hoping for an injury. And I'm not really into that. The Kyron Williams stuff is interesting because when the Rams get their running back, a lot of times in the beginning, you don't know which one it's going to be. You don't know how it's going to pan out. But when McVay gets his back, he rides him. You're getting all the touches. You're going to be our workhorse guy. They don't do this split backfield type of garbage. It's not garbage, but they don't do that. You don't have to worry about that. That's what's always enticing. If you know the Rams running back, if you know who McVay's guy is, that's a good bet on guy for fantasy. And 950.5, that seems kind of light to me. But again, it's running back. It's about health for him. But I think that's an interesting look. And what also jumped out to me, the Puka and Kupp receiving touchdown numbers is the exact same. The exact same. And I know Puka was the yardage guy and all that. Puka ends up with only 6 last year, Kupp with 5. I have to imagine that Puka number skyrockets. Like, how can you have 160 targets in a high-flying offense and only have 6 touchdowns on the season? If you're betting a Puka touchdown number, I would go over. I don't know about Kupp. He still ended up getting 95 targets in only 12 games last year. It's amazing he was able to accomplish that. But you're always worried, and that he's 31. Once you get past that 30 mark, and he's had serious injuries, I worry about Kupp putting together a full season for a season-long prop.
They had it 5 different guys with at least 3 touchdown catches last year. There was a really even distribution. You mentioned Nacua with 6, Kupp with 5. Demarcus Robinson had 4. Kyron Williams had 3 catches for touchdowns, and Tutu Atwell had another 3. So that's the thing about a McVay offense. As much as they have, as much as they will find the primary target on a given week, and Stafford will hone in on that guy, whether it's Nacua or Kupp, as much as they will beat Kyron Williams into the ground. And I think, like you said, 950 is way light for his rushing yardage prop. Like, this is Kyron Williams averaged like 5 yards a carry last year, didn't he? I mean, 5 on the nose, if I'm not mistaken. So if he gets 200 carries, we're talking 1,000 yards. Bang. He had 228 carries last year. So, yeah, Kyron Williams, he had a dozen touchdowns as well. So we know on the ground, I guess is my point, that they're going to feed Williams, like you said, as long as he stays healthy. I think he crushes his numbers, both yards and, yeah, touchdowns. I think he's a double-digit touchdown guy. But receiving-wise, especially when it gets into the red zone, this McVay offense becomes about sort of spreading things around. And that's what makes it really tough on those touchdown prop numbers that you mentioned. 6.5 for each Nacua and Kupp is interesting. I think Nacua, 1150, I know what he's capable of, and I know he crushed it last year. I still don't know if I'd go over that number, because I'll be curious to see if that, how opposing defenses combat that, right? Like, last year, he was able to catch people by surprise, at least the first half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen this year. There's going to be, there's an old Clint Hurdleism he used to use in baseball where he'd talk about the league punching back. A guy would come up, he'd have a huge couple of weeks to start his career, and then the league would punch back. I'm curious to see how NFL secondaries punch back against Puka Nacua and how they make it more difficult, how they try to take him away. And yeah, that's great. Cooper Kupp, we'll put it on him. Let's see what he's got. He's 30 now. He's coming off what would be considered a down statistical year for him. Let's see if you can use Kupp as the guy, and we'll take Nacua away.
Chris said they can't win the division. Do you think they have a chance? San Francisco minus 200 favored for the division.
Yeah, and I think the NFC West, people are singing songs about the what are the buzzy divisions right now? AFC North, people are saying, is the most rugged. I think that one falls back. I think this division, on the other hand, has a chance to move up. I don't know what Mike McDonald's going to put together in Seattle in year one, but you saw him tune up. I know they're loaded in Baltimore with pieces, but nevertheless, that defense was above the personnel. It was Mike McDonald's scheme. So can he go to Seattle and in year one with Geno on one side, and can he make some hay? If he does, I think that division is loaded up. Obviously, the Niners are as good as anybody. The Rams, like I say, undervalued, and the Cardinals are going to be good this year. I think they're another team to look at for 9-8 or somewhere in that range, or maybe even potentially better than that. So I think the division is tough. That's not great for the Rams. But it depends how much you're going to lean into the mini era head-to-head of Shanny v. McVay. If you buy that that's going to carry over into 24, well, that's not great for their chances of winning the division. I guess I'm more bullish on them getting into the playoffs than them winning the West this season. I mean, Puka Nacua, which is not just, it's not, I don't bring him up just because it's delightful to say, but I mean, let's really take a moment here. I know there's a lot going on in the world, and football season is nigh, but really take a beat, for you. It's important you do that every day. Take a moment for yourself, right, and just look in the mirror and just go like, Puka Nacua!
Chris Shula, who's been with the organization, is now promoted to be the defensive coordinator. Yes, Don Shula's grandson in the Shula family. He's got 5 new starters on defense. You've got to replace Aaron Donald. Like, the offense, we don't have any concerns about as long as Stafford can stay healthy. McVay's going to dial some stuff up that we haven't seen before. And if both Kupp and Puka both stay healthy, always dangerous. Kyron Williams did a great job last year, really took over. And now you've got Chris Shula dealing with this. That is my big concern, is what are they going to do in the division with now you got McDonald. Many people project to be a very good coach. And then, of course, Shanahan. You're always chasing Shanahan. And the tough quarterbacks that they're going to be facing early on in the season. 3 new pieces in the secondary, right? Both new corners are new to the system, and a new starting safety. Trey White coming off a torn Achilles. That's going to be big. 2 of those 5 new starters are rookies out of Florida State. They might be good players when it's said and done, but you're asking rookies on day one, the first and second round picks, to step in, start, and be productive immediately. Jared Verse, that was good value pick. And I like those additions. They were needed, and they just stood back, and they fell to them. Was perfect for them. Nice draft. We're not used to the Rams having nice drafts because they usually don't have picks, but they're going to need them to produce immediately. And with the tough start to the schedule, that's my concern. If you're going over that it's going to be a tough start. Maybe it's a team that, okay, let's wait. And then maybe we pounce after week 5.